Commanders fans, welcome back. Before we get into today's news, let me start with this. The Washington Commanders are still searching for growth, still trying to perfect their foundation, and still committed to building something that lasts, even during a difficult 2025 season. That mindset matters, especially right now. So if you appreciate real analysis, honest reporting, and coverage that speaks directly to the fan base, go ahead and hit that like button right now. It helps this channel grow and keeps this community strong. By the way, if you want official Commanders gear, jerseys, hoodies, hats, or the new Sideline collection, I left the link to the official store below. It helps the channel and keeps you geared up. Now, let's talk about a development that affects both the present and the future of this franchise. The Washington Commanders will be without one of their most important players in Week 16. Head coach Dan Quinn confirmed that left tackle Laremy Tunsil will not play against the Philadelphia Eagles as he continues to deal with an oblique injury suffered in Week 15. Initially, there was optimism. Quinn suggested earlier in the week that Tunsil would play if he could, but as practices unfolded, that optimism faded. Tunsil did not practice on Tuesday, and the team ultimately made a decision that reflects the bigger picture. Washington chose caution, and honestly, that tells us a lot. At 4-10 and officially eliminated from playoff contention, the Commanders are no longer chasing short-term results at all costs. If this team were still alive in the playoff hunt, there's a very real chance Tunsil might have tried to gut it out. But an oblique injury for an offensive lineman is no small issue, especially for a player whose game is built on leverage, power, and balance. Playing him below 100% would have risked further damage, and in a season already wrecked by injuries, Washington isn't interested in adding another long-term problem. The team will continue monitoring Tunsil week to week before deciding if and when he returns before the end of the season. Even in a down year overall, Laremy Tunsil was one of the Commanders' most reliable pillars. He started 14 games. He earned an 84.7 Pro Football Focus grade, ranking 7th out of 82 tackles. His 88.9 pass blocking grade ranked 3rd in the entire NFL at his position. Those numbers matter, especially when your franchise quarterback is a rookie navigating a brutal NFL learning curve. Tunsil wasn't just protecting the blind side, he was stabilizing chaos. His absence comes against a Philadelphia Eagles pass rush that doesn't need much help creating pressure. Without Tunsil, Washington will be forced to reshuffle protections, lean heavier on tight ends, and simplify concepts, which brings us to the bigger conversation that's been quietly growing inside this organization. Because the most important issue facing the Commanders right now isn't just who plays left tackle on Sunday, it's how they protect Jayden Daniels long-term. Jayden Daniels' season is effectively over, and now the focus shifts from development to preservation. The Commanders know they have their quarterback of the future. Daniels has shown athleticism, creativity, and competitiveness that this fan base hasn't seen consistently since the early days of Robert Griffin III. He can escape pressure, he can extend broken plays, he can turn chaos into hope. But 2025 also exposed the downside of that style. Daniels' legs are his superpower, but they've also put his body in danger far too often. Hits, awkward landings, scrambles that didn't need to happen. This season wasn't about questioning his toughness or his heart, it was about acknowledging reality. NFL defenders are bigger, faster, and less forgiving, and durability is not optional for a franchise quarterback. According to Dan Quinn, the discussion about protecting Daniels didn't start this week or even this month. Quote, all the way back to when he was injured with the elbow, one of his projects has been how he uses this superpower of his legs while also protecting the team, end quote. That quote is revealing. It tells us the Commanders aren't trying to eliminate what makes Daniels special, they're trying to refine it. Let's be clear, Cliff Kingsbury isn't going to tell Jayden Daniels to stop running. That would be foolish. What will change is decision-making. Knowing when to slide, knowing when to throw the ball away, knowing when a 3-yard loss is better than a hospital visit. That's the evolution every mobile quarterback must go through. Commanders fans don't need reminders of what happens when talent outruns protection. This organization has lived it before. That history matters, whether they say it publicly or not. and this time Washington seems determined to do things differently. Laramie Tunsil is under contract through 2026 before hitting free agency, and make no mistake, the Commanders will have serious conversations about locking him up long-term. Elite left tackles don't grow on trees. Elite left tackles who can protect mobile quarterbacks are even rarer. If Jayden Daniels is the future, protecting his blind side is not optional, it's foundational. This offseason won't be about fixing Daniels' arm mechanics. It won't be about reinventing the offense. It will be about building an environment where he can stay on the field for the next decade. Better protection, smarter decisions, designed movement, not reckless improvisation. Because the biggest question facing this franchise right now isn't how good Jayden Daniels can be, it's how long he can be great. With a 4-10 record and 3 games left, the Commanders are no longer playing for the postseason. That much is clear. But make no mistake, these games matter. They matter because this roster has unanswered questions. They matter because the future is being shaped right now. And they matter because this coaching staff needs to show that it understands that development must come before comfort. The first test comes at home against the Philadelphia Eagles, and after what many would call an ugly win against the New York Giants, the Commanders must prove that momentum doesn't disappear as quickly as it arrives. This isn't just about effort anymore. It's about opportunity. For weeks, fans have asked the same thing. Why aren't we seeing more young players? Why aren't snaps being used to evaluate potential building blocks? Why does it feel like the future is always waiting for next season? Well, finally, one of the most anticipated evaluations of the year is about to happen. Head coach Dan Quinn confirmed that edge rusher Drake Jackson will make his Washington Commanders debut on Saturday. Yes, after nearly 2 months of waiting, rehab, and build-up, one of the most intriguing in-season free agent signings is finally taking the field. Quote, "Drake had a good week. We started ramping him up last week, and this game felt like the right one for him to go." End quote. That may sound simple, but it's significant. Drake Jackson didn't sign with Washington by accident. Back in mid-October, he had multiple offers from other teams, yet he chose the Commanders. That tells you 2 things. First, teams around the league still believe in his talent. And second, Jackson believes there's opportunity here.
And right now, there absolutely is. Jackson is just 24 years old. He was selected in the 2nd round of the 2022 NFL Draft by the San Francisco 49ers, a team known for developing defensive linemen. In limited action, he flashed upside, recording 6 career sacks in 23 games. But injuries changed his trajectory. A knee injury late in the 2023 season sidelined him for an extended period, and eventually San Francisco moved on. Not because the talent disappeared, but because availability matters. Now, Washington gets a low-risk chance at a high upside evaluation. This is what a roster win looks like. The Commanders aren't just hoping Drake Jackson plays. They're hoping he answers a question. Can he stay healthy? Can he set the edge? Can he generate pressure consistently? If the answer to even one of those is yes, Washington gains something invaluable: clarity. And clarity is currency in the NFL. Why edge rusher is a massive need. Let's not sugarcoat it. The Commanders' defense needs serious work. That process will start with hiring a new defensive coordinator this offseason. But right alongside that hire, General Manager Adam Peters will need to tear down and rebuild major portions of this roster. And at the top of the list, defensive end. Washington's depth at defensive end has been gutted. Both Dietrich Wise and Durance Armstrong suffered season-ending injuries, and there's real concern they could miss substantial time at the start of the 2026 season as well. That leaves massive uncertainty, which is why Drake's debut isn't just a curiosity, it's a necessity. At 4'4", 273 pounds, Drake Jackson has the size to be an every-down defensive end. If he shows he can handle that role, suddenly Washington has flexibility. Jackson as a base end, Jacob Martin as a rotational pass rusher, Von Miller as a situational presence if he returns. That's not a finished solution, but it's a foundation. This does not replace aggression. Even if Jackson plays well, this should not stop the Commanders from swinging big this offseason. Adam Peters must still be aggressive, whether that's in free agency or the 2026 NFL Draft. This defense needs a true difference maker off the edge, someone offenses have to plan around. But if Jackson proves he belongs, that changes the math. It gives Washington options, and options lead to smarter roster construction. This debut isn't more than one player. It's about whether the Commanders are serious about evaluation. It's about whether Dan Quinn will truly play young talent. And it's about whether this organization is done entering off-seasons blind. For once, Washington has a chance to answer a major roster question before the season ends. That matters. So I'll ask you, was ruling out Laramie Tunsil the right decision? Should Washington prioritize extending him this offseason? And how should the team balance Jaden Daniels' athleticism with protecting his future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation worth having. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any Commanders news, injury updates, or off-season analysis. The record may say 4-10, but the decisions being made right now will define this franchise for years to come. Official Washington Commanders gear, fresh new drops, and exclusive items, all in the link below. Check it out. Hail to the Commanders!